Formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune. That's not just a quote, that's a warning and a promise. Ladies and gentlemen, if you stopped learning the day you graduated, congratulations, you've just put a cap on your income, a limit on your growth, and a chain on your potential. Now listen carefully. Every day, the world is changing. Every day, your competitors are studying, your peers are improving, and life is throwing new challenges your way. If you're not educating yourself daily, you're falling behind daily. You don't need a classroom, you need a commitment. You don't need a degree, you need a decision, because here's the truth. Success is something you attract by the person you become, and who you become depends on what you're learning every single day. Formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune. That statement carries the weight of experience and the urgency of truth. While school may teach us the basics, reading, writing, arithmetic, it often stops short of what's needed to truly thrive in life. Self-education picks up where formal education ends. It's not confined by a curriculum or limited by a semester. It's guided by curiosity, driven by purpose, and fueled by the desire to grow beyond the average. Think about it. Formal education gives you a start, a foundation. But have you ever seen someone with a degree who still struggles financially or personally? Of course. Because life's greatest rewards aren't handed out with diplomas. They go to those who are willing to keep learning, growing, and evolving, long after the graduation cap is tossed. Self-education is the key to unlocking the potential inside of you. It's the podcast you listen to on your morning commute. It's the book you read before bed. It's the seminar you attend on a weekend while others are relaxing. It's the habit of asking questions, seeking answers, and applying what you learn to real life. It's active, not passive. Voluntary, not forced, and here's the powerful part. Self-education compounds. Every idea builds on the last. Every lesson becomes a stepping stone. The more you learn, the more your thinking expands. The more your thinking expands, the more opportunities you start to notice and attract. In a world that rewards value, the more you grow, the more valuable you become. So while formal education may open a door, self-education decides how far you go once you walk through it. Never stop learning. That's where the fortune lives. Every single day, the world is changing fast. New technologies emerge, industries evolve, skills become outdated, and new knowledge takes the lead. In that kind of environment, standing still is the same as moving backward. That's why daily learning isn't just a good idea. It's a necessary edge. The people who choose to educate themselves every day are the ones who stay ahead of the curve, while others slowly fall behind without even realizing it. There's a silent race happening all around you. Your peers are improving, your competitors are studying, and life is raising the bar constantly. If you're not feeding your mind consistently, you're gradually becoming less relevant. It doesn't happen all at once. It's subtle. One day turns into a week into a month, and before long, the gap between those who continue to learn and those who don't becomes a chasm. But the good news is that learning daily isn't complicated. It doesn't mean locking yourself away for hours. It could be 10 pages of a book, one podcast episode, a few minutes of focused journaling, or watching a video that stretches your thinking. It's about creating momentum through small, consistent steps that sharpen your awareness and deepen your understanding. The people who are winning in life are not always the most talented. They're often just the most prepared. And preparation comes from learning something new every day. When others are comfortable, you're improving. When others are stagnant, you're growing. And eventually, that difference shows up in your results, your confidence, your income, and your influence. In a fast, moving world, daily self-education isn't a luxury. It's survival, and more than that, it's your secret weapon. Because when you keep learning, you keep rising. no matter what's happening around you. Growth doesn't require grand gestures. It thrives in the small, simple habits you choose to repeat every day. The truth is, personal development is less about doing something big once in a while and more about doing the right things consistently. Success is built on routines, not random inspiration. It's the daily disciplines, reading, listening, writing, that silently shape your thinking, sharpen your skills, and strengthen your mindset over time. Reading just 10 pages of a good book each day may not seem like much, but over a year, that's over 500 pages. That's the knowledge and perspective of dozens of great minds pouring into yours. Listening to a podcast during your commute turns drive time into growth time. Instead of wasting hours in passive distraction, you begin feeding your mind with new ideas, strategies, and ways of thinking that eventually shift how you see the world and how you respond to it. Then there's journaling. Writing out your thoughts forces clarity. It helps you reflect, process lessons, and understand yourself better. It's not about writing for others. It's about writing to see your own growth, patterns, and goals more clearly. That kind of awareness is powerful. It creates change from the inside out. What's magical about these simple habits is how they compound. You won't see massive change tomorrow, but give it 30 days, 60 days, 6 months, and suddenly you're not the same person anymore. You've grown in knowledge, confidence, and capability, and all you did was commit to small, intentional actions every single day. These habits are the quiet architects of success. While others wait for the perfect moment or a big breakthrough, you're building your foundation, one page, one idea, one reflection at a time. That's the real secret. Consistency creates transformation. The people you spend time with shape your thoughts, your habits, and ultimately, your future. Whether you realize it or not, your environment is either stretching you or shrinking you. It's pushing you forward or pulling you back. That's why being intentional about who you surround yourself with is just as important as what you're learning. You could be feeding your mind with all the right ideas, but if your circle is filled with negativity, complacency, or low standards, it will slowly drag you down. Growth loves company, but so does stagnation. If you're constantly around people who mock ambition, avoid learning, or settle for average, it becomes harder to stay driven. But when you surround yourself with people who are hungry, curious, and constantly evolving, it becomes natural to push yourself harder. You start to think bigger, act bolder, and believe more is possible, because you see it reflected in the people closest to you. One of the most powerful forms of education doesn't come from a book or a lecture. It comes from conversations. It comes from watching how others operate, solve problems, manage challenges, and carry themselves. When you spend time with people who are ahead of you in mindset, success, or wisdom, their habits start to rub off. Their standards become your standards. Their energy becomes fuel for your own journey. This doesn't mean you abandon people you care about. It means you choose to invest more time in those who inspire your potential. You make the effort to find mentors, attend events, join groups, and build relationships that elevate you. You become the average of the people you're around most. So choose wisely. If you want to grow, be around growth. If you want to rise, stay close to people who are already climbing. That's how you accelerate your own path. Knowledge isn't just about being smarter, it's about gaining freedom. When you educate yourself consistently, you begin to take control of the areas in life that most people feel powerless in. Learning how money works, for example, can give you freedom from debt, from stress, and from living paycheck to paycheck. Understanding how to build and manage relationships can give you peace in your personal life, strength in your partnerships, and influence in your career. Developing your mindset helps you navigate challenges, stay grounded during chaos, and find clarity when others are overwhelmed. The truth is, ignorance is expensive. What you don't know can cost you opportunities, time, energy, and even happiness. Most of the limitations people face come not from a lack of potential, but from a lack of understanding. But the beauty of self-education is that you're not waiting on someone to rescue you. You're learning how to rescue yourself. You're gaining the tools to make better decisions, ask better questions, and create better results. When you commit to learning every day, you're choosing to live with intention. You stop drifting through life and start designing it. Whether it's reading about health, listening to a mentor talk about leadership, or watching a documentary that shifts your world, every moment of learning adds a new piece to the puzzle of your freedom. Real freedom is not about having more stuff. It's about having more options, and education, especially self-driven education, creates those options. It gives you the ability to think critically, solve problems, and create value wherever you go. That kind of power doesn't just change your life. It expands it. So, if you want more freedom, financially, emotionally, mentally, invest in learning. That investment pays you back in confidence, choices, and control over your own destiny. Learning alone isn't enough. It's not just about how much you know. It's about what you do with what you know. The real reward of education comes when knowledge is applied. You can read every book, attend every seminar, and fill notebooks with ideas. But unless those lessons translate into action, they don't create change. The world doesn't pay you for information. It pays you for execution. There are people with less knowledge but more results, simply because they take what they've learned and put it to work. They try, they fail, they adjust, and they grow. That's how learning becomes transformation. When you apply what you know, you start solving problems, making better decisions, and creating real value. You become someone people can count on, not just because you're informed, but because you're effective. Applied knowledge builds confidence. The more you use what you learn, the more capable you feel. Confidence doesn't come from theory. It comes from experience. When you take action, even in small ways, you begin to trust yourself. You realize you can figure things out. You're no longer just a student of life. You're a participant, a creator, a contributor. It's easy to fall into the trap of over-preparing, always learning but never moving. But progress demands movement. Read the book, yes, but then use the lesson. Watch the video, yes, but then apply the insight. Take what you know and turn it into action. That's when the real shift happens. Your potential isn't unlocked by information. It's unlocked by implementation. The more you act on what you learn, the more you grow, the more opportunities you attract, and the more value you bring to others. That's when education becomes power, not because you know more, but because you do more with what you know.